one of the world's most respected companies. A powerful brand known around the globe for quality and innovation. A technology company helping shape a new era of mobility. For 125 years, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company has been essential to keeping the world moving. But in 1898, it was nothing more than two empty factories on Market Street in Akron, Ohio, USA. That's when 38-year-old Frank Seiberling bought the distressed assets and soon found himself in the rubber business. F.A. Frank Seiberling and his brother C.W. Charlie Seiberling were the company founders and brought an entrepreneurial mindset to their new business. Their spirit of discovery was represented by Charles Goodyear, an inventor responsible for the vulcanization of rubber and the inspiration for the new company. The company's first sale was on December 1, 1898, $25.80 worth of rubber sundries. By 1900, annual sales already had eclipsed $1 million. In 1900, the Seiberlings hired Paul Litchfield to oversee production as its factory superintendent. Litchfield went on to become one of the most important figures in Goodyear history, serving the company over the span of 6 decades. Together, these three were largely responsible for establishing the foundation of Goodyear's success.
I'd like to start and talk about a statement that the wonderful Paul Litchfield made. A business is like an individual. It has a head, heart, and hands. And the heart is just as important as the head and the hands. And the reason the heart is important is a company can have a very successful product, but if it doesn't have employees back home that respect each other, can work together, and most importantly, solve problems, that company will probably not be sustainable. Now, of course, this is setting the stage for that dynamic team of F.A. and C.W. Seiberling. And F.A. was considered the head with his brilliance and genius for business, and C.W. was the heart with his brilliance for human relations.
Bicycle and carriage tires were the main products that carried Goodyear through its first few years, supplemented by other items such as horseshoe pads, rubber bands, golf balls, and poker chips. That was followed by a wave of product innovation spurred by the growth of the automobile. In 1901, Litchfield's straight side tire, marketed as the no-rim cut, was Goodyear's first tire innovation. 6 years later, Goodyear introduced its first all-weather tread design, featuring diamond-shaped blocks for better traction. The tread pattern became one of the company's best known and would be its leading design into the 1940s. Company expansion also began in the early 1900s. Goodyear initiated a plan to build more factories, including Plant 2, which is now part of today's Akron campus, and facilities around the world, including manufacturing plants in Los Angeles and Bowmanville, Ontario, business in London, and a farm in Arizona to grow cotton, an important component in early automotive tires. The company even established a new residential community in Akron, as Goodyear Heights was developed under Frank Seiberling's leadership. Through Goodyear's formative years, its spirit of innovation and opportunity helped establish the new company as the tire industry leader. By 1916, the company could legitimately claim that more people ride on Goodyear tires than any other kind. Then came an inflection point: World War I. The United States government persuaded Goodyear to support the war effort by manufacturing non-tire products, from airships to gas masks. Beginning in 1917, more than 6,000 Goodyear employees served in the armed forces, depleting the company's production labor. So, to keep operations moving, Goodyear hired new workers, including older men and women, to work wherever they could. Goodyear also hired workers who were deaf, deploying them in factories where they were not affected by the noise of tire building. The war also accelerated development of pneumatic tires for military trucks. To prove the tire's dependability beyond the military, a Packard truck was outfitted with Goodyear pneumatic tires, hauling products and components from Akron to Boston and back. Thus, in 1917, the Wingfoot Express was born. It became one of Goodyear's best-known icons and established the first interstate trucking route. The end of the war triggered a new era of prosperity, and Goodyear's focus was now on serving the U.S. auto industry. In 1920, Goodyear supplied almost half of all the original equipment tires on American-made cars. As successful as it was, Goodyear's early history was not without challenges. And in 1920, the hard times of the Depression were looming. But thanks to smart and steady leadership, outstanding products, a commitment to innovation, and a spirit of finding a way to respond to every obstacle, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company was poised to thrive.
People are working together to support each other and are dealing with issues that are very critical to society today, and that makes you proud.
For the more than 100 years that followed, Goodyear remained essential to enabling mobility around the world, just as it is today. What do you think of when you hear the name Goodyear? Is your mind immediately driven to tires? Does it track with world-class racing? Do you picture iconic images? Around the globe, the Goodyear name continues to be connected with quality, technology, and innovation. And over the past 125 years, has become one of the most recognized brands in the world.
Our brand's icons in racing are essentially Goodyear's front door. It's the entryway for how people come to know us. Our brand is the foundation of everything we do and our most important asset. Ultimately, people choose Goodyear because of the people who represent our brand and what they deliver.
The company name comes from Charles Goodyear, an inventor who in 1839 discovered the vulcanization of rubber and opened the door to a new global industry. And what about the Wingfoot? The company icon came from Goodyear co-founder F.A. Seiberling, who was inspired by a statuette of Mercury displayed in his home. The Roman god represented trade, commerce, speed, and movement. And this ideal company logo appeared in its first print advertisement in 1901. In the same way, the names of Goodyear tires reflect a special attribute, aspiration, or feeling of confidence. And while the Wingfoot still represents Goodyear, people around the world may be more familiar with the company's extended family of brands. Kelly Tires, originally a competitor, became a sister brand back in 1935 and has been a part of the Goodyear family ever since. A joint venture with Japan's Sumitomo Rubber added the Dunlop brand to the portfolio. In Europe, Goodyear manufactures Fulda, Dembitsa, and Sava brand tires. And in one of the most important events in the company's 125-year history, Goodyear added Cooper tires to its global business in 2021. Another important event was simply a question asked by one of the greatest inventors of the 20th century.
there was a dialogue and a relationship between the Cyberlings and Henry Ford, and that's the way it came. It was a request by Henry Ford to one of the Cyberling brothers that said, I want to race, would you provide tires for me to be able to compete? That's how it started.
Ford's request launched Goodyear's entry into motorsports of every kind.
We won our first Indianapolis 500 in 1919. There was a period of time where we won about everything in sight. We were in Indy cars, Formula One, drag racing, sports cars, dirt racing, stock car racing, everything.
But Goodyear's involvement in racing was more than just a proving ground for existing tires.
Racing absolutely is a huge driver of technology. We contributed a lot to mold shape development and construction development as we were learning how to make our tires more durable.
So durable, in fact, that for setting land speed records throughout the late 50s and early 60s, the tires of choice were Goodyear's.
Tested beyond the speed of sound.
For more than 100 years, Goodyear has been essential to racing around the world. And racing has been just as essential to Goodyear.
Racing success helps Goodyear stand apart from competition in Europe by really giving us a unique point of difference. If you think of endurance racing, often termed the ultimate test of man and machine, it's very true for our products, which have to perform from the very first minute to the very last minute, ready for anything. Seeing Goodyear involved in that setting brings huge amount of credibility and trust for the brand.
I was asked to give the keynote address at a banquet a number of years ago. In the course of doing some research, I ran across a quote that I closed the speech with. At one and the same time, the automobile race satisfies the human desire for tests of speed and endurance while bringing about a steady improvement in the automobile. It is from lessons learned on the racetrack that manufacturers have been able to improve their production of cars. The engines, the accessory parts, and the tires all have been improved through lessons that the track has taught. End quote. Goodyear Racing Review, November 1919. It was true then, and it's true today.
While that's a fact, it's also true that some of Goodyear's most iconic images have risen above and beyond the excitement of the racetrack. The Wingfoot Express was designed to demonstrate the durability of pneumatic truck tires. The special Packer truck established the first interstate trucking operation and became a popular attraction in the United States. The clock tower was built with the company's first plant in Akron, Ohio, USA, and constructed on every new Goodyear facility for decades to come. But no matter where you live, it's safe to say that everyone is acquainted with one of the world's most famous icons, the Goodyear blimp. Originally designed for military aviation, the Goodyear airship began its life as a unique advertising vehicle in 1925. The first marketing airship, named Pilgrim, represented a milestone in aviation and lighter-than-air technology. Many of its more than 300 successors also achieved flying firsts. The blimp also earned celebrity status with its appearance in movies and on television, has served in times of crisis, and has been a goodwill ambassador for generations. Its aerial coverage of sports and entertainment events continues to set it apart as a beloved brand icon the world over. Brands, icons, racing, all synonymous with Goodyear, and all connected by quality, innovation, and technology. Since the beginning, and for the next 125 years. Goodyear has produced nearly 10 billion tires during its 125-year history. But from the beginning, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company has produced more than tires and products made from more than rubber. Poker chips, horseshoe pads, shoe soles, and a variety of rubber sundries were among Goodyear's early items. But what about
Guidance systems, rocket engines, computers, films, satellites, giant antenna, various foams, just anything that had to do with polymers. I'm Sam Landers. I have 42 years with Goodyear, virtually my entire career. When you're working on the leading edge, pushing the knowledge all the time, it's very exciting. Every room, every desk seemed to have something new going on. They seemed to have an expert on everything. I was lucky enough to be assigned to Goodyear Aerospace. To me, Goodyear Aerospace was just this huge corporation that was just into everything. They had brilliant scientists and engineers. What was exciting is they were working on the leading edge.
The origins of Goodyear Aerospace date back to 1909, when the company built its first airplane tire. Paul Litchfield's lifelong interest in aviation drove Goodyear's development of such non-tire products as a rubberized wing fabric, aircraft brakes, and bulletproof fuel tanks. Eventually, Goodyear Aerospace expanded into other areas of technology.
I actually had the fortunate benefit of taking 2 assignments at Goodyear Aerospace. I worked in the plant engineering side, where I designed things like sub-rock missile testers and new facilities, and I even was on the team that did some analysis of what it would take to restart the old Goodyear air dock.
One of the best-known Goodyear contributions to aviation was the Corsair, built for the U.S. Navy during World War II. More than 4,000 of these nimble combat planes were manufactured in Akron by Goodyear between 1943 and 1946. The company's contribution to aviation continued during the golden years of space exploration. Goodyear was the first to manufacture tires for use on the moon, first on a lunar rock collection device, and later tires for a lunar rover, co-developed with General Motors. It also was responsible for the fabric flotation devices used to recover spacecraft and astronauts returning to Earth. Goodyear has had a presence in the sky since the turn of the 20th century, when it manufactured observation and weather balloons. The company's expertise in lighter-than-air objects led to its development of airships for military use, and eventually to something much more popular. Another impetus for products beyond tires was Goodyear's chemical business. While the seeds of Goodyear's polymer development were planted in 1908 with the establishment of Goodyear Corporate Research, a natural rubber shortage during World War II prompted the U.S. government to invest in finding a rubber substitute. Goodyear joined forces with other tire makers and developed multi-use polymers, leading to the groundbreaking production of synthetic rubber. This innovation drove the company to produce such items as plastics and foam, film and flooring, hoses and belts, and latex items for industries as diverse as medical and food service. The company's R&D led to products outside the transportation industry to make life easier, or in some cases, make life possible. A polymer developed in the Goodyear lab was used as the membrane for an artificial heart built with the Cleveland Clinic. That technology enabled other breakthroughs in artificial hearts, limbs, and other prosthetics which have saved and prolonged many lives. Products that originated in Goodyear's labs are still all around us, including some that have nothing to do with tires.
I designed an IT system or an IT program to convert numerically controlled paper tapes from one language to another. The systems were quite different than they are today. What you hold in your hand was in an entire room, maybe even a building.
In 1971, Goodyear Aerospace designed and built a computer called StarRAN, which featured something called content addressable memory and parallel processing capability. It was the precursor to what we know today as a search engine. From what you hold in your hand to what you wear on your feet, Goodyear's innovative products are as much a part of life as its tires.
We don't think of ourselves as a tire company. Though tires are essential to what we do, we're a technology-driven mobility company. That's been true literally since our founding. It's true today, and I believe it's going to be true for decades ahead.
After 125 years, Goodyear is still one of the world's leading tire companies. But it's also one of the most innovative rubber, polymer, engineering, science and technology companies anywhere in the world. Goodyear is, and always has been, synonymous with innovation. Beyond the world of mobility, the company has delivered innovative marketing, going back nearly 100 years with the Goodyear blimp. Breakthrough technology from tire building machines to advances in aviation, space exploration, and computer science. New ways for consumers to shop, buy tires, and even have them installed. New business models for distribution and best-in-class services for consumer and commercial fleets. Scientific innovations in polymers and synthetic rubber that went into life-changing and life-saving devices, and innovative materials to strengthen the company's commitment to sustainability. And when it comes to enabling mobility, innovation is Goodyear's lifeblood, driven through the products known around the world.
The construction of a tire is very complex. It's a combination of raw materials, rubbers, reinforcement, fabrics, steels, and it's not just what you see, but the chemicals that go into it, how they're mixed, how they're extruded. It all has to come together to deliver that innovative product that you're looking for.
You have to differentiate yourself in the eyes of a customer, and that comes through innovation. You have to constantly innovate. You have to have a flow of new products. That's why they call it a pipeline, because you have to come out with one innovative product after the other.
Over the past 125 years, Goodyear's impressive list of firsts include innovative tire design, compounds, features, functions, and benefits that shaped an industry and established the company as a leader in global mobility. Among the firsts was an innovative passenger tire. Introduced around the turn of the century in the Saturday Evening Post. From here, Goodyear's innovative firsts came fast and frequently. From the first tires on the Ford Model T, to the Double Eagle, to air wheel tires, to the first tires with synthetic cords made from rayon and nylon, and the first American-made tires to use synthetic rubber. Innovations on the track accelerated breakthroughs in Goodyear consumer tires. And the company even put the first tires on the moon. Beyond setting records on land and in space, Goodyear tire innovation contributed to significant improvements in farming, aviation, construction, mining, waste hauling, long-haul fleets, and last-mile delivery industries.
A key is inquisitiveness. And if we think of our strategy roadmap, in order to be proactive and serve our customers as their needs evolve, we're going to need to want to pursue new things, new ways of solving their problems, which will pull new technologies into our solutions.
Designing, Developing and delivering tires for meeting every driving need is the driving force behind Goodyear innovation. All season, all terrain, run on flat, ice, snow, rain, all weather, handling, traction, comfort, quiet, fuel efficiency, sustainability.
Innovation comes with a lot of different flavors. One of the innovations over in Europe was a twin tire concept. They work great. Could drive just as fast when it was raining. But why does it need to be two tires? Two tires makes mounting very difficult, servicing the tires, keeping the inflation. Why not just one tire with a big groove down the center? That was the formula behind AquaTread. And so we had a tire that told a story.
In 2003, Goodyear introduced another line of products that tells a story. The Assurance family of passenger tires were headlined by the Triple Tread, with its 3 distinct tread zones, and Comfort Tread, which delivered a smoother, more comfortable ride. The success of these products energized Goodyear's customers and represented a triumph of collaboration.
And so that's part of the innovation process, is to add that element into the design so that it almost speaks for itself.
Goodyear tires are telling stories all across its portfolio around the globe, with products such as Efficient Grip, Ultra Grip Ice, Eagle Asymmetric, Wrangler Territory HT and Workhorse AT. Intelligent tires that simplify maintenance and enhance vehicle operation. Tires that maximize fuel economy. A tire specifically for electric and hybrid vehicles. Airless tires with a variety of uses. And we are working toward a tire made completely of sustainable, non-petroleum materials.
Tire performance will still be extremely important in the future. On top of that, though, our opportunities with sustainable solutions, as well as intelligent ones, will only build upon that foundation.
Whether you're a new company or a 125-year-old company, you have to adapt and change. That's true, period. Being a 125-year-old company, I think one of the things that's in our DNA is that adaptability, is that spirit of innovation, is that spirit of entrepreneurship. And those characteristics, not our age, is what allows us to adapt to this inflection point and take the company to another level. We are moving beyond just tire innovations to mobility innovations going forward.
Goodyear Associates have been, and always will be, the heart, the soul, the inquiring mind, the skilled hands, and the global face of Goodyear. It's an extraordinary heritage of visionary leaders, community servants, dedicated teams, generations of families, innovative thinkers, cultural pioneers, and people who keep the world moving. Goodyear Associates, past and present, around the globe, have been the company's source of innovation, inspiration, and integrity, creating a culture of community, spirit, inclusion, and pride.
Goodyear's influence on the community, on the local community, is very important, and it is very positive. It's not just the jobs and the paychecks, it goes well beyond that. It is an ethical company. I have heard employees who told me, I looked through the business conduct manual and that impressed me. This is why I'm working here.
It's a culture that values family, as it has for generations.
I am Michael D. Savula, and I am the 4th generation of Savulas, and I'm a pipe fitter for Goodyear.
And I am Michael H. Savula. I am the 5th generation to work for the company. I am an electrical engineer.
My grandfather hired in the 20s after World War I, and he was a mold and bench machinist.
My personal friends and even my family members that don't work there, they hear me say great things about it when I come home.
What really is kind of a kick is one Saturday that we'd all been scheduled to work, the maintenance crew, and Michael came in as my boss. So that's kind of an oddity, and I'm gonna now take direction from my son.
I didn't know he was going to be in that morning, and it just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, well, I'm assigning a job to my father today.
It was a good feeling.
It's a culture of opportunity to grow and to thrive.
My name is Joel Somerville, and I went to Goodyear in April of 1967, and I worked in hospitalization.
My name is Marco Somerville, and I started working on the squad in 1971.
Love Goodyear because it gave us the opportunity to do for our family what we wanted to do to give our children an education and a better life.
I have so many good recollections of Goodyear and the way they treated us as a family.
When I was making my career choice and even my education choice, believe it or not, I was told I would not be an engineer, which probably gave me motivation to become an engineer. Working at Goodyear has changed dramatically since I first started. Back in the days where there were very few women in engineering, there's now many in the Goodyear workforce. And I want to say my experience at Goodyear was to never hold back. And if there was something you were interested in trying and doing, make that known.
Opportunities for associates to grow and thrive at Goodyear can be found across the globe.
20 anos, entrei na Goodyear como piloto de testes e tive o privilégio de dirigir os mais variados tipos de veículo. Isso me deu a oportunidade de trabalhar com várias montadoras como engenheiro automotivo e coordenador do campo de provas no Brasil.
Goodyear es una compañía que ofrece oportunidades e inspira a todos sus asociados a ser mejores. A nivel regional, fui la primera mujer gerente de análisis de operaciones en manufactura en Latinoamérica y la primera directora de ingeniería industrial y planeación de instalaciones en la región de Asia.
Goodyear means for me respect, transparency, openness, and inclusion. It's all about people.
It means passion, it means innovation, but most importantly, it means family. We truly work as one team, looking after each other, both personally, professionally, but also looking after our customers.
Goodyear means so much about heritage. It means so much about motorsport for me, to be very transparent, but also when I then had the opportunity later on in my career to join Goodyear, it already held a special place in my heart because it was something that I'd seen, that I'd grown up with, that I'd seen so often on the TV that it just seemed a natural fit.
固特异一直以来非常注重员工能力的提升，它给我提供了英语、质量管理体系、领导力等诸多方面的培训，也给我提供了很多锻炼和成长的机会。
One way Goodyear created opportunities was through the Flying Squadron. Established by Paul Litchfield, this training program gave broad experience to new associates. Members of the squad eventually worked in a variety of positions.
Squad was a way, I think, for Goodyear to attract talent. I mean, they were looking for young people who may be interested in joining the company. And it was kind of like an apprenticeship program in a lot of ways to provide people with opportunity to see exactly what they were made of.
While the squad opened doors for many associates, others took different paths to a Goodyear career. One of those was Ray Dove.
I knew about Ray Dove because people in the community, people at church, we went to the same church, were saying, oh, Ray Dove had to run the elevator for a long time before he got into research.
Ray Dove was a brilliant student at the University of Akron and would eventually become Goodyear's first Black research scientist. A Goodyear chemist who worked alongside Dove was Kirkwood Cotman.
The people that were hired then as regular chemists went on and, they started getting some respect from the chemical part. Ray Dove was still running the elevator. So when they got their master's degrees, Ray Dove and all of them, those guys went in and said, this is wrong. This guy is smarter than we are. If we have a question, we ask him what the answer is. But he'll never tell us the answer. He'll lead us up to where we can figure it ourselves. I don't think he really thought about being the first black scientist at Goodyear. You never think about things like that. If you are the first.
Dove's work in research spanned 4 decades and opened the doors of opportunity for generations that followed. When Ray Dove retired in 1986, he left an indelible legacy.
I wanted to do something for him the day he left. I wrote a note to him saying, it was people like you who made it possible for people like me to work in places like this.
Whether their work supports operations and technology, sustainable sourcing, or advanced mobility, the diverse talents, experiences, and cultures of all our associates paved the road to continued success for Goodyear.
We all recognize today that Goodyear is here 125 years later because of those associates that came before us and their contributions. Our associates do so many things so well. If I had, though, to distill it down to one thing, it's a can-do attitude. Goodyear associates always go the extra mile, and that's what has helped us endure for 125 years.
Since 1898, Goodyear's customers have been at the center of everything. From family-owned retailers to automakers, from distributors to commercial trucking fleets, from businesses that have been selling Goodyear tires for generations to startups partnering with the company to create new ways to enhance mobility. Goodyear's customers have represented the brand with dedication, loyalty, and enthusiasm. Their relationships with the brand and its associates are the foundation of Goodyear's legacy. And those relationships are best described in their own words.
My name is Rod Polynes, and I'm the proud owner of Central Tyre Service, Goodyear Auto Care Shepparton, and our family business has been supporting Goodyear for over 70 years.
My name is Veera Raghavan. I'm the head of the Strategic Sourcing Unit in Mahindra. Our relationship with Goodyear is more than 3 decades old.
A gente é parceiro comercial há mais de 55 anos. Então a Goodyear está na minha vida desde que eu era uma criança. O relacionamento entre a Caiada e a Goodyear começou há muitos anos com meu avô.
Distribuimos neumáticos Goodyear desde 1962.
Somos distribuidores Goodyear desde el año 1936, es decir, hace casi 87 años.
Goodyear を販売して40年以上になります。
Goodyear customer for 50 years.
Ford's relationship with Goodyear goes all the way back to the founding of our company in 1903. Goodyear supplied the tires for the Model T, the car that really put the world on wheels. And Goodyear has provided quality products on our most iconic vehicles ever since.
Goodyear is very much customer focused. Goodyear people seek a connection in all levels, in all different areas of the business.
Ryder's been around for 90 years, and prior to Goodyear, we had a relationship with another tire provider for over 30 years. 2.5 years ago, we made the decision to switch, and that was a big decision. We really got very comfortable with the cultural fit between Ryder and Goodyear.
In my view, our long-term partnership is built firmly on trust, and that trust comes from great collaboration and open communication we have with Goodyear teams.
Goodyear has become a great listener to the dealers, and
The success of both our companies comes from working together and getting the customers to a better place.
Giving you a word to describe the relationship with Goodyear, for me, is quite easy. Collaboration with Goodyear comes to mind. We've been working together, solving our problems in the operations since day one, and we continue to overcome those challenges and create a really successful partnership with Goodyear and Fortescue.
Dalam satu kata, saya harapkan seperti kata Goodyear, tahun bagus, Pak. Setiap tahun selalu bagus.
Goodyear is more than just a tire supplier. They've been a partner with us in so many different ways. There's continuing challenges that happen that you never anticipate. The latest one would be the COVID lockdown. They were just absolutely the most key partner we had in that whole process. We would not have been able to get back going again if Goodyear hadn't been able to help us figure out how to do it.
The U.S. Auto Force's relationship with Goodyear is they're our largest partner. We try to do what's best for all parties involved. U.S. Auto Force and Goodyear have just been able to come together and set direction and accomplish the things we need to do to be market leaders.
Our relationship with Goodyear is like an old friend relationship. We always knew how to overcome difficulties and come out always stronger than before altogether.
Whenever there's a problem, they've been able to step up and we work together to solve it, and we really appreciate that about the Goodyear relationship.
如果问我向别人介绍固特异时该如何形容，那我会说固特异是途虎养车最棒的合作伙伴。
Southwest Airlines' relationship with Goodyear is one of professionalism. Through thick and thin, we've been able to work through issues together, resolve problems, and keep the aircraft flying.
When I think about Goodyear, the key thing I would say is we look upon them as our business partner. Goodyear has done a great job in understanding the different customer requirements and customizing their products to meet the requirements in each area.
世界のトップメーカーであるグッドイヤーを販売したいと考え、会社創業以来、グッドイヤー一筋に販売をしてまいりました。
Bueno, pues que cada vez los tiempos van cambiando y Goodyear nos ha dado oportunidades de negocio también para poder ir ampliando nuestro negocio, ampliarlo y ir de la mano de Goodyear.
We have achieved with Goodyear a significant business growth for the past years, both in passenger cars but also in commercial.
弊社、グッドイヤー、このブランドを扱うことによって、そういった弊社のオンリーワン企業であり続けるために一役を担っているというふうに思っております。
When I think of Goodyear, I think of their commitment to quality and innovation. Goodyear is consistently one of our top suppliers for over 100 years at Ford, and they earn it every day.
Goodyear en nuestro negocio ha significado un ejemplo de innovación, tecnología y ética empresarial.
We would not be here today without the Goodyear relationship and the Goodyear brand. The consumer loves the Goodyear tires.
Goodyear has always been at the cutting edge of technologies, and they has been the first to send tires in space.
La verdad, Goodyear significa para nosotros tecnología, evolución, una empresa que se ha desarrollado año a año.
在我看来，固特异实现多年持续发展或进步，和它的科技探索精神是分不开的。无论市场如何变化，固特异总能摸索并打造出卓越的产品。
Goodyear has become much more of a technology company. There's a lot more technology now to not just the tire itself, but how we're going to manage the tire. And Goodyear has brought a lot of new thinking to Ryder that we hadn't had before.
The intelligent and connected tire products of Goodyear enable us to leverage both companies' innovative fuel efficiency technologies and harness this to further improve the performance of autonomous trucks.
Goodyear se distingue por la innovación y desarrollo constante, pero fundamentalmente por la calidad de su gente.
The first thing I think about when I think about Goodyear is the people that I've worked with at Goodyear. They have just had consistently outstanding teams. I just really appreciate the quality of people, the quality of work that they do, and the fact that they're an enjoyable company to work with.
I would like to specifically state a situation which arose 8-10 years back when there was a national calamity in Bangkok due to heavy flooding and the plant was shut down. We had continuous support that we expected from Goodyear, So Goodyear managed to support us from the other plants and ensured that continuity of supply is maintained.
This is a relationship built on trust more than anything. We know we can count on Goodyear for great products and thoughtful collaboration.
如果需要向别人介绍固特异的话，我会说固特异是一个值得信赖的品牌。
Schneider stayed with Goodyear all these years because of trust.
グッドイヤーさんとは先代の時代から深い信頼関係があり、それを継承しております。
Goodyear means I can think about other things. I know they're going to deliver.
What Goodyear means for me personally, I can rely on the company.
Goodyear has delivered, and we have benefited as a family business.
La relación entre Goodyear y Neumáticos Camoya es una forma de vida.
Por isso sempre penso na Goodyear como família.
En el año 1936 mi abuelo se casó con mi abuela y además se casó con Goodyear.
Bahkan saya kalau luka aja keluar darahnya warnanya biru, darah Goodyear.
Goodyear is in my blood. It's all I've ever known.
The Goodyear brand to our customers stands for trust, it stands for reliability, it stands for quality, and it stands for relationship. That's why people want to do business with Goodyear. What we really are about is taking care of our customers every day, and we'll continue to do that.
When Frank Seiberling bought an old straw board factory in 1898, did he envision that his small team in Akron, Ohio, would turn into generations of associates from all cultures around the world and become one of the world's most respected companies? Could he have pictured a successful multinational enterprise and a global icon responsible for more than a century of groundbreaking innovation? Would Frank Seiberling have imagined his small startup still thriving 125 years later? Or what would be possible in the next 125 years?
125 years from now, Goodyear is going to continue to be a leader in mobility. Tires are going to still be important as long as vehicles need to connect to the ground.
Where does that connection start?
At Goodyear, we are really working to stretch the imagination when it comes to new product development. Our tire designers and engineers, I would say, approach new tire development with a lot of curiosity, and we look for trends in things like architecture, new product design, opportunity space, nature, and areas even such as fashion for influence in those design opportunities. From the first sketch of a new tire, we may see up to 50 design modifications, and that isn't just physical, right? A lot of that's in the virtual space and being able to do that rapidly. As designers, we always need to be looking for new design solutions, but always with an eye towards the future.
One design that has exciting potential is an airless tire. Goodyear's innovative product has already been tested on robotic delivery vehicles, with the possibility of even greater applications.
The solutions and products that we're talking about require new technologies, new approaches, new business models. Simulation is going to be a key enabler for us as we think about how we work with customers.
Working with customers and consumers is how Goodyear helps them meet their challenges and satisfy their needs. Goodyear is constantly exploring ways to provide mobility solutions, now and in the future.
Just over my shoulder is our simulator. The more data you can produce, the more insights you can bear. The more insights you can bear, the better the decisions we can make. Simulation is one way in which we get data.
It is super nerdy. I mean, I'm a numbers geek. One of the benefits of the simulator is we're pulling thousands of channels of vehicle telemetry data, and we're able to put those into the cloud and start to look at trends that would inform our design choices in the future.
In the next 125 years, that data could lead to innovations that redefine the tires of tomorrow. To further sharpen Goodyear's vision of the future, the company is investing in new mobility startups through Goodyear Ventures.
as we look ahead to what happens in the future, we see a trend moving forward of fleets, autonomous, connected electric vehicles that are underlined by the theme of sustainability.
In 2023, Goodyear unveiled a revolutionary tire made of 90% sustainable materials. The company is on track to produce a tire made of 100% sustainable materials by 2030. The change in how Goodyear is thinking about tires is keeping pace with the emerging trends in vehicles.
Electric vehicles are definitely taking on a bigger part of the population of the car park. But I think we have to be prepared for a future of lots of different sources of propulsion. Electric, maybe hydrogen, and maybe some things we haven't even thought about.
What could that look like in the next 125 years?
When we were thinking about big cities and mobility, we thought, hey, what happens if we replace traditional tires into a sphere, into a ball?
No matter what shape a tire may have in the future, its importance is already growing.
The tire of the future will have intelligence that will be a combination of sensors that will be in the tire as well as the vehicle, along with algorithms that take our ability to project the performance of that tire real time as it travels down the road, integrating real time with the vehicle itself.
Goodyear's work on intelligent tires is already gaining adoption from such company partners as Gatik and Plus, two autonomous logistics and trucking operations.
In the future, autonomy is going to proliferate the majority of vehicles, and it's going to be enabled by what we can bring to the table as Goodyear, which is managing that connection to the road.
But what about vehicles that may not be on the road? Well, Goodyear's thinking about that too. From earthbound vehicles that rely on tires for traction, to flying cars propelled through the air, Goodyear is working on solutions for the most imaginative forms of mobility.
It's up to us today to have that same entrepreneurial spirit to see how mobility transforms from what we're all used to today to how people will consume it into the future. The way we'll do that is through that same entrepreneurial spirit that our founder had. Our goal has been, just like our founder, F.A. Cyberlinks, not only to participate in the industry, but lead the industry, particularly lead new technological innovations.
And Goodyear will continue to innovate and lead, just as it has for 125 years.